Hello everyone, welcome to watch my network communications presentation video. My name is Chong Li Ling. I am the second year student from Bachelor of Computer Science, Graphic and Multimedia SECV in UTM Johor. In this video, I will use Wireshark to investigate protocols in operation. I will explore several aspects of HTTP protocols, which are the basic GET and response interaction, HTTP conditional GET and response interaction, retrieving large HTML files, retrieving HTML files with embedded objects, and HTTP authentication and security. Let me explore the first aspect of the HTTP protocol, which is the basic GET and response interaction. Firstly, start up my web browser. My preferred web browser is Google Chrome. Next, start up the Wireshark packet sniffer. But I will not begin the packet capture first. Next, enter HTTP in the display filter specification window so that only capture HTTP message will be displayed later in the packet listing window. Then begin the packet capture. Next, enter the URL into my browser. A simply HTML file will be displayed and stop the capture. From the result, we can see that my browser is Google Chrome, which is running HTTP version 1.1. Besides, the language of my browser indicate that it can accept to the server is SECR1213-09, which is Chinese. Then, the IP address of my computer is 192.168.1.6, while the IP address of the gaia.cs.umass.edu server is 128.119.245.12. Next, the status code returned from the server to my browser is http:/1.1/200 OK. It means that it returns the content of the file to my browser. In addition, the HTML file that I am retrieving last modified at the server is Friday, 4 December 2020. 128 bytes are returned to my browser. By inspecting the raw data in the packet content window, I have not seen any headers within the data that are not displayed in the packet listing window. All of the headers can be found in the raw data. The second aspect of the HTTP protocol is HTTP conditional GET and response interaction. First, start up my web browser. And I will clear my browser's capture. Then close it and start up again. Next, start up the Wireshark packet sniffer and begin the packet capture. Enter another URL into my browser. After the 5 lines of HTML files are displayed, refresh again and stop the packet capture. Enter HTTP in the display filter specification window. From the contents of the first HTTP GET request, we can see that there is not if modified since line in the content of the first HTTP GET request. Next, let us see the contents of the server response. And you can see that the server explicitly returns the contents of the file to the browser. This is because we can see the contents in the line-based text data fields, which are 10 lines. Then, let us see the contents of the second HTTP GET request. And you can see that there is a line of if modified since, which is Friday 4 December 2020, which is the last modification of the file from the previous GET request. The HTTP status code and phrase returned from the server in response to this second HTTP GET is HTTP/1.1304 not modified. The server did not return the contents of the file. This is because the server didn't return the contents of the file since the browser loaded it from its cache. Third, I will show you the HTTP retrieving large HTML files. This is almost same with the steps of the second aspect. First, start up my web browser and clear my browser's cache. Then close it and start up again. Next, start up the Wireshark packet sniffer. And begin the packet capture. Enter another URL into my browser. It will display the rather lengthy US Bill of Rights. And stop the packet capture. Lastly, enter HTTP in the display filter specification. From the result, we can see that only one HTTP GET request message did my browser send. And packet number 80 in the trace contains the GET message for the Bill of Rights. Besides, packet number 106 in the trace contains the status code and phrase associated with the response to the HTTP GET request. The status code and phrase in the response is HTTP/1.1200 There are 3 data-containing TCP segments were needed to carry the single HTTP response and the text of the Bill of Rights. They were containing 1,360 bytes, 2,720 bytes, 781 bytes, respectively, for a total of 4,861 bytes. The fourth aspect of HTTP protocol is retrieving HTML files with embedded objects. We just do the same steps with the different URL. First, start up my web browser and clear my browser's cache. Then close it, start up again. Next, start up the packet sniffer. Then begin the packet capture. Enter the different URL into my browser. It should display a short HTML file with two images. These two images are referenced in the base HTML file. That is, the image themselves are not contained in the HTML. Instead, the URLs for the image are contained in the downloaded HTML file. Lastly, stop Wireshark packet sniffer. Enter HTTP in the display filter specification window. And you will see that only capture HTTP message will be displayed. From the result, 3 HTTP GET request message did my browser send. The first HTTP GET request is for the HTML files. The second GET request is for the first image of Pearson. The third GET request is for the second image of book cover. This GET request was sent to the IP address of gaia.cs.umass.edu, which is 128.119.245.12. By checking the TCP ports, we can see that if our files were downloaded serially or in parallel. In this case, the two images were transmitted over two TCP connections, which are SRC port and BST port. Therefore, they were downloaded serially. Lastly, I will trace the HTTP authentication and security in the Wireshark. First, clear my browser's cache. And close down. Then start up my browser again. Next, start up the Wireshark packet sniffer. Begin the packet capture. Enter the last URL into the browser. Type in the username and the password. And you can see that the HTML files are returned to my browser. Stop the packet capture. Enter HTTP into the display filter specification so that only capture HTTP message will be displayed. From the result, the status code and phrase in response to the initial HTTP GET message from my browser is HTTP/1.1/401 unauthorized. When my browser sends the HTTP GET message for the second time, a new field is included in the HTTP GET message, which is authorization. This line is not be found in the first GET message. Before doing Lab 2, I do not know what is the packet sniffer and how to use it. After doing Lab 2, I had known the new packet sniffer, which is called Wireshark. I had learned and applied it for Lab 2. I had used it to trace the aspects of HTTP protocols and know that the packet sniffer is very useful to monitor network traffic. Sniffers work by examining streams of data packets that flow between computers on a network as well as between network computers and the larger internet. It can trace many types of HTTP protocols such as the basic GET and response interaction, HTTP conditional GET and response interaction, retrieving large HTML files, retrieving HTML files with embedded objects, and HTTP authentication and security. I felt happy and excited to know more about Wireshark packet sniffer and HTTP protocols. I hope that it will help me to improve my level of knowledge about the network communications. This will become the most valuable and wonderful experience for me while carrying out the Lab 2 by using Wireshark. That's all. Thank you.